Picture this. It is 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are standing in your kitchen, or perhaps your garage, staring at a leak. Or maybe it's a flat tire on the side of a deserted highway, or a massive piece of furniture you bought on impulse that is currently wedged, immovable, in a stairwell. You are sweating, you are frustrated, and you have a phone in your pocket. In that phone are the numbers of 5, maybe 10 people who love you, people who would pick up on the first ring, people who have literally told you, "Call me if you need anything." But you don't touch the phone. In fact, the very thought of calling someone, of hearing their voice and having to say the words, "I am stuck," makes your stomach turn over. Instead, you open YouTube. You watch a 20-minute tutorial on plumbing or physics. You decide you will just sleep in the car. You decide you will just break the furniture if you have to. And I'm sure if you're watching this, it's because something here touched you, because it touches me too. Why do we do this? Why do so many of us treat asking for help like it is a moral failing, or worse, a dangerous accumulation of debt? We often frame this behavior as being low maintenance, or simply being capable. We tell ourselves we are just efficient. But if we are honest, there is a frantic energy underneath that efficiency. This isn't just independence. This is what psychologists call hyper-independence. It is a trauma response dressed up as a work ethic. It is the fortress you built to keep yourself safe, which is quietly transformed into a prison. Today, I want to walk you through the architecture of that prison, explore why your brain views assistance as a threat, and see if we can maybe, just maybe, unlock the door. And hey, if you've ever been that person at 11:30 p.m. choosing a tutorial over a phone call, hit subscribe. Not for more content, but because this channel is basically your weekly reminder that you don't have to carry everything alone. To understand why you act this way, we have to look at your internal accounting system. For the hyper-independent person, relationships are not fluid exchanges of care. They are rigid, terrifying ledgers of debt. You likely walk through life with an invisible balance sheet in your head. When you do something for someone else, you barely register it. You give freely. But the moment someone does something for you, buys you a coffee, offers a ride to the airport, connects you with a job lead, a giant red siren goes off in your brain. You immediately feel a crushing weight of obligation. You feel you are now in the red. This transactional view of human connection usually stems from an early environment where love was conditional or where needs were treated as inconveniences. Perhaps you were the easy child. You know the one. The child who didn't make a fuss because the parents were already overwhelmed with a volatile sibling, financial stress, or their own emotional immaturity. You learned very quickly that your value to the family unit was your lack of needs. You became an emotional minimalist. You learned that to be loved was to be useful, and to be needy was to be a burden. So, fast forward 20 years, and here you are, viewing a simple offer of help not as kindness, but as a threat to your identity as the low-maintenance one. There is a fascinating, specific nuance here that we rarely talk about: the sheer exhaustion of explanation. For the hyper-independent mind, the energy required to explain the problem to someone else often feels vastly more expensive than the energy required to just suffer through solving it alone. This is the efficiency glitch. Let's say you are overwhelmed with a project at work. A colleague sees you drowning and asks, "How can I help?" Your brain instantly runs a simulation. You think, I have to stop what I'm doing, I have to articulate the context, I have to delegate the task, I have to watch them potentially do it wrong, and then I have to fix it. The calculation comes back, too expensive. So you smile and say, "I've got it, thanks." But it goes deeper than just efficiency. It is about the terror of being perceived. When you are doing everything yourself, you control the narrative. You are the director, the editor, and the actor. Nobody sees the messy middle. Nobody sees the panic, the confusion, the mistakes. They only see the finished product. To ask for help is to invite someone backstage. It is to let them see the chaotic dressing room of your life. If you let someone help you move house, they see your clutter. If you let someone help you with your finances, they see your bad spending habits. If you let someone comfort you when you are sad, they see your snotty nose and your ugly crying face. For the hyper-independent, this loss of privacy is physically painful. It feels like being skinned. You would rather carry the couch up 3 flights of stairs alone and risk a hernia than let someone see you struggle for 5 minutes. This behavior is often tied to a concept known as counterdependency. While codependent people rely on others to define their self-worth, counterdependent people rely on not needing others to define theirs. It is 2 sides of the same wounded coin. You might have a subconscious belief that everyone will eventually let you down, so you preemptively strike by never giving them the chance. You become a prepper for emotional apocalypse. You have your own tools, your own money, your own plans. You are the island. And sure, islands are safe, they are fortified, but nothing grows on a rock in the middle of the ocean without fresh water coming from somewhere else. Let's look at the neuroscience for a moment, because your brain is actually fighting its own evolution here. Humans are obligate gregarious species. That is fancy biological talk for we literally die without each other. In our hunter-gatherer days, being cast out of the group meant death by exposure or predator. Our nervous systems are wired to co-regulate. When we are stressed, the presence of a safe other person releases oxytocin, which lowers our cortisol. It is a biological safety valve. But for you, that wire is crossed. When you are stressed, the presence of another person spikes your cortisol. You associate intimacy with danger or with the potential for rejection. So when you are suffering, your instinct is to isolate. You go into a cave. You go dark on text messages. You disappear until you have fixed yourself so you can re-emerge as the shiny, happy, capable version of you. You are denying yourself the very biological mechanism designed to heal you. Think about the specific, unusual ways this manifests. It's not just big things. It's the refusal to ask a waiter for a refill because you don't want to disturb their flow. It's walking 3 miles in the rain because you missed the bus and cannot bear to call your roommate for a 10-minute lift. It's the way you research medical symptoms for weeks, convincing yourself you can biohack your way out of an illness before you finally break down and see a doctor. It is a compulsive need to control the variables. Other people are the ultimate variable. They are messy, they are unpredictable. They might say no, or worse, they might say yes and then hold it over your head. There is also a profound fear of owing, which we touched on, but let's dig into the currency of weakness. In your mind, asking for help is an admission of defeat. If you ask for help, you have failed the test of adulthood. You look at others who ask for help easily, people who crowdsource advice, who borrow money, who cry on shoulders, and you might feel a mix of judgment and envy. You judge them for being needy, but deep down, you envy the freedom they have to be imperfect. You envy the fact that the world doesn't end when they admit they can't do it. So what happens when the hyper-independent person finally hits a wall? Because you will hit a wall. It is inevitable. The crash, when it comes, is usually spectacular. Because you haven't let off any steam along the way, because you haven't distributed the load, you snap. Burnout for the hyper-independent isn't a slow leak, it's a dam breaking. And when you break, the shame is unbearable. You feel you have defrauded everyone who thought you were the strong one. This creates a cycle. You struggle, you hide it. You crash, you feel shame. So you build the walls higher next time to ensure you never crash again. It is a lonely loop. But here is the perspective shift I want to offer you, and it might feel a bit uncomfortable. Your hyper-independence is not actually strength. It is a trust issue. It is a lack of courage, the courage to trust that you will be okay even if you owe someone a favor. The courage to trust that people love you for who you are, not just for what you can handle. By never asking for help, you are actually robbing the people in your life of the opportunity to love you. Think about how you feel when you help a friend. When someone you care about comes to you and says, "I'm really struggling, can you help me?" Do you think, "Ugh, what a burden"? No, you usually feel honored, you feel trusted, you feel close to them. Helping creates intimacy. Vulnerability creates bonds. By hoarding all the problems to yourself, you are hoarding all the opportunities for connection. You are keeping your relationships on the surface level, where everything is polite and transactional, preventing them from deepening into the messy, real reliance that defines true closeness. You are acting like a martyr in a war that ended 20 years ago. You are still fighting to prove you don't need parents who aren't in the room anymore. You are still trying to be the low-maintenance child, but you are a grown adult, and you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to be high maintenance occasionally. You are allowed to be a hassle. So, how do we begin to dismantle the fortress? We don't blow it up all at once. That's too unsafe. We start with micro-exposures. We practice what psychologists call planned vulnerability. You start with low-stakes asks. Ask someone to pass the salt when you could easily reach it. Ask a stranger for the time when you have a watch. Ask a friend to pick a movie because you are too tired to decide. Notice the physical sensation that arises when you do this. You will feel a twinge in your chest, a little spike of danger. Notice it, and then notice that the sky didn't fall. Notice that the other person didn't sigh or roll their eyes. In fact, they probably smiled. You have to retrain your nervous system to learn that need does not equal rejection. Then graduate to the medium stuff. The next time you are venting to a friend, instead of wrapping it up with a joke and "but it's fine, I'll figure it out," try staying in the discomfort. Try saying, "I'm honestly really worried about this, and I don't know what to do." And then, and this is the hardest part, stop talking. Leave the space open. Let them step in. There is a Japanese concept called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold lacquer. The breaks aren't hidden. They are highlighted. The object becomes more beautiful because it has been broken and repaired. Hyper-independence is the attempt to be a pristine, unbroken vase that sits high on a shelf, untouched. But life is about being used, being handled, breaking, and being put back together by the hands of others. The gold that holds us together is our relationships. You don't have to be the CEO of your own survival anymore. You can resign from that position. It is okay to just be a human being stumbling through the dark who occasionally needs a hand to hold. I want you to try something this week. One small ask, one admission of "I can't." See what happens. And then, don't just leave with this sitting in your chest. Use the comments like a bridge. If any of this felt uncomfortably familiar, write it out down there. What's the one thing you're carrying alone right now that you know is too heavy? No perfect wording, no over-explaining, just the truth. And while you're there, read a few other comments, because I promise you, you're not the only one who learned to survive like this. If you see someone describing your exact pain, reply to them. Even a simple "me too, I get it." That's how connection starts. That's how the gold shows up. Let's put it down together, right here, with people who understand.